Looking for some twin fin fun? Let's talk about the Firewire Go Fish by Rob Machado. Hi guys, Chris from Stoked here, or welcome back to the channel. Now before I get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any video goodness. Now today we're going to talk about the Firewire Go Fish by Rob Machado. Now I know this is a little bit older model in the Firewire surfboard range, but I've recently got my hands on it and I've had heaps of fun. So I decided to do a full review of the board so you can decide whether it's one that you want to add to your quiver. So yeah, let's jump straight in. So first off, who is the Firewire Go Fish aimed at? Well, if you love really cruisy waves and drawing those really nice drawn out lines, then the Firewire Go Fish is going to be heaps of fun under your feet. In terms of ability, it's going to suit kind of mid-range, intermediate and upwards. The extra volume and paddle power built into the board is going to really suit the kind of the lower end of that surfing spectrum. And the more advanced surfers are really going to love the performance that's also packed in this board. And personally, this was one of my first real forays into twin fin surfing. And I've tested it out recently in the Firewire Sunday, also by Rob Machado. But the Go Fish is the first board that I've really kind of clicked with and has that kind of performance aspect to it as well. So if you are looking for a board that's kind of an introduction into twin fin surfing, then the Go Fish is also a really great option. And we're obviously going to jump into kind of board breakdowns, wave types, and fin setups as well. But yeah, the Firewire Go Fish will cover a broad range of surfers, and it's just great fun overall. So now let's talk about the board breakdown, dimensions, and of course those beautiful contours on the bottom of the board. Now the Firewire Go Fish comes in a huge range of sizes, from 5'3", which comes in at 27.4 litres, right through to a 6'3" model, which packs in 42.9 litres. Now personally, I picked up the 5'9", which comes in at 33.1 litres. Honestly, I was shopping around secondhand and there wasn't a huge range to choose from, so that's actually a little bit smaller than I usually would have gone for. Ideally, I probably would have opted for the 5'11", which comes in about 35 litres. But honestly, since taking the 5'9" out, I've actually not got any qualms with it at all. And it's felt really fun underfoot. It's really easy to paddle, even in those smaller conditions. And honestly, now looking back at it, I actually wouldn't go any bigger than the 5'9". It suits me really well and feels really lively underfoot. And now in terms of the foam breakdown of the board, as you can see, it's really nice and wide underneath the chest, which gives you plenty of paddle power, even if you do kind of drop down that size and you are surfing in those smaller conditions. The business end of the board, you can see it thins out quite a lot into the tail. This is where the performance really kind of kicks in. If you get those feet on that back pad over those fins, it's really going to drive into those turns and there's still plenty of release. So it's super fun and nippy, and you're going to be able to draw out those really nice long carves as well. Obviously, the main thing you're going to notice when you look at the Go Fish to start off with is those contours in the bottom of the board. It's one of the most unique things about the Go Fish, those concaves and channels running through the back 2/3 of the board. The center of the board is pretty subtle, with a slight bit of concave and some V in the tail, but obviously your eye is going to be too drawn to those rails to really kind of pick it out. The rails of the board are basically creating a large channel in the bottom of the board, which is going to direct that water right through your fins, and the result is that Go Fish is going to have heaps of lift, speed, and also flow once you're up and riding. So obviously it's quite unique, but it works really well, and don't be off put by the fact it kind of looks a little bit more kind of out there and alternative. When you put it in the water and you get up and riding, it's all going to work really nicely and all kind of packs together really nicely to produce that speed, flow, and all-round retro vibes of the Go Fish. So yeah, in terms of board breakdowns, that's everything you need to know about the Firewire Go Fish. So what are the optimal wave conditions for the Firewire Go Fish? Well, I've tested out the board in a huge array of conditions, from kind of smaller, sloppier days right through to clean overhead days, and it's gone really great in everything I've taken it out in. For the bigger days, it does handle really well, but personally that's when I'm reaching for my kind of quad fin setups for a bit more grip and stability, so something like the Dominator 2. But for me, the Go Fish really excels in kind of those chest to head high days, especially really nice clean conditions on like a really fun shore break or point. For me, that twin fin setup just works really nice in that kind of size. I feel like it's got really like a lot of drive and some really nice flow in those conditions too. One thing I'd like to point out here though is I'm definitely finding the twin fins much easier to surf on my forehand than I am my backhand. I've chatted to a few surfer buddies about this and they also find similar things with their twin fins. So just keep that in mind. Obviously as a goofy footer in Australia, finding a left-hand bank isn't the easiest thing to do, especially around the Byron area, everything's right. But if you are regular and surfing kind of a right-hand break a lot more, it's going to be a really good option for you. But if I do find those kind of small, fun left-hand banks, the Go Fish is my board of choice at the moment. It also was my go-to choice for my recent trip to the surf lakes up in Yeppoon as well. So yeah, for me, the optimum conditions for the Go Fish, that kind of chest to head-high day. When it comes to fin setups, the Firewire Go Fish is a dedicated twin fin setup, as you'd expect from kind of a retro fish shape. Now for me, I've teamed mine up with the Machado keels, which were also launched alongside the Go Fish, and they go really great. Heaps of drive and speed, but also with those channels in the board and the thinned out tail, there's also heaps of release as well. So those really nice turns and little pivots in the pocket as well. Personally, I haven't felt the need to try out any other fins. It feels great underfoot, and I've got there's nothing kind of leaning me towards trying a more upright fin or a smaller fin, especially for my height and weight. I guess if you were a little bit lighter or a little bit shorter, you might want to kind of use the front fins from the Machado quad setup, as they're a little bit smaller and might provide a little bit more release. But for the most part, the Machado keels for the win. When it comes to construction, the Go Fish is made in Firewire's LFT technology. So that has the central aerospace composite stringer, as opposed to the helium technology, which has the stringer around the rails. Now for me, LFT isn't quite as good as the helium. I definitely don't find it as durable, and it does ding up a little bit easier. So just keep that in mind. I would really love to surf the Go Fish in a helium construction just to see the difference between the two. In terms of performance though, the LFT seems to lend itself to the Go Fish really well, but just be aware it's not as durable as the helium. Now I know one of the comparisons a lot of people are going to be making is, do you want to go with the Go Fish or the Seaside, which was the follow-up to the Go Fish? Now having ridden both really extensively, I can tell you they're both very different animals and handle very differently in the water. I feel for like the most part, a lot of surfers are going to love the Seaside a little bit more. It's got heaps of drive, lots of speed, that little bit of extra volume, and can handle a huge range of conditions really well for a huge spectrum of kind of surfing skills as well. The Go Fish, on the other hand, is really good in kind of that chest to head high range, but obviously the twinnies are a little bit more specialized and are not kind of as well suited for kind of that lower end of the skill level. So it really depends what you want out of your board, where you're going to be surfing it, and what you really want the board to be doing underfoot as well. That being said though, both of these boards are really fun to ride, and that's probably the key takeaway of this, is they're both super fun. So in that respect, both of the Seaside and the Go Fish have solid kind of places in my overall quiver, and there's definitely places where I'll jump for the Seaside more, especially when it's a little bit bigger with that quad fin setup. For those smaller kind of playful days, the Go Fish is just going to be able to make the most of it. So yeah, when it comes to choosing between the two, they're both very different boards, so have a real solid think about where you want it to sit in your quiver. So what are my final thoughts on the Firewire Go Fish? Well, to be completely honest, it really caught me quite off guard, and it's the first twin fin board that I've really kind of connected with and felt like I've really got the hang of surfing. So with that in mind, if you are looking at kind of that first twin fin board, the Go Fish is definitely a great option. I feel like it has heaps of drive, but also plenty of release and performance. And for those really nice, clean, long, drawn out, retro kind of style lines, it's an absolute epic board to surf. In fact, it's one of my go-to boards at the moment, especially for those kind of chest-high days at the beach breaks. Find a nice little left bank, flick it around in the pocket, couple of little floaters, just a great all-round board. So if you are looking at kind of sizing it up as well, I've actually found that even though the 5.9 is smaller than I would have usually gone for, I haven't suffered for it, and I'm actually really happy with that size of board underfoot. I feel like it's added a little bit more playfulness and a little bit more performance than I potentially would have got with the bigger, higher volume board. But yeah, the bottom line is the Go Fish surfs as good as it looks. It's a really nice board to surf. I have heaps of fun on it, and that's the key takeaway. Go Fish is just plenty of fun to ride. So yeah, if you're looking for a bit of twin fin fun, the Go Fish has my recommendation. And there you have it guys, that's my full review of the Firewire Go Fish by Rob Machado. Now, if you're looking for other surfboards to kind of check out or add to your quiver, make sure you check out the links in the description below to all of my surfboard reviews, and check out the rest of my YouTube channel for heaps of video reviews, guides, and more. That's it for this week, guys. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next week.